2 minutes left. Elon Musk personally requested you to open. A secret surprise coming. The words echoed in your mind like a drum beat. 2 minutes left. The notification had appeared suddenly, not on a screen or in an inbox, but as a direct pulse from the universe, or was it? It was a message from Elon Musk himself, a personal request flashing in the space between thought and action. 2 minutes left. Elon Musk personally requested you to open. A secret surprise coming. It wasn't just any alert. It was coded, urgent, vibrating with potential. Some part of you wanted to ignore it, to wait, to retreat into familiar routines. But another part, a quieter yet stronger part, whispered, "This is the moment you've been preparing for." It wasn't about urgency in the usual sense. It was about Elon Musk, the visionary innovator, presenting an opportunity as a fleeting instant, a reminder that time moves forward whether you notice it or not. The personal request was not from a random source but from Elon Musk himself, asking you to engage fully, to act courageously, to open yourself to possibility. The secret surprise, you thought, is always waiting behind the threshold of action, perhaps a breakthrough idea, a collaboration, or something transformative tied to Musk's world of innovation. You breathed, feeling the weight of potential pressing gently against your chest. This was not fear, though it felt similar. It was anticipation, a quiet trembling that accompanies the moment before transformation. You realized the 2 minutes were symbolic, a reminder that life often presents its gifts in brief, intense windows, and the choice to act defines everything. Your mind wandered to all the times you had hesitated, all the chances that slipped away because you waited too long. The pattern was clear. The world doesn't pause for indecision. But now a different rhythm was calling you. A rhythm of courage, clarity, and readiness. You moved slowly at first, as if testing the ground. Then with increasing confidence, each step felt like a translation of thought into motion, intention into reality. The secret surprise wasn't an object or a reward. It was the awakening that occurs when you stop hesitating and fully engage with life, perhaps unlocking a new path inspired by Musk's relentless drive. 2 minutes, you whispered, smiling to become more than I was a moment ago. The pulse of anticipation deepened. You felt your senses sharpen, your awareness expand. Time seemed both compressed and infinite. A paradox that only the present can hold. And in that paradox, you saw it clearly. The secret surprise was already here. It was the alchemy of attention and courage. The transformation that begins when possibility meets action. You remembered every moment that had brought you here. Every late night, every risk, every failure, every small act of persistence, they weren't wasted. They were preparation. Building the internal muscles you needed to respond now in this instant to a call that had been present your entire life. The request is simple, the inner voice said, but profound. Show up fully. Open yourself. Begin. You felt a warmth spreading through your chest, a quiet power that comes from alignment with your own potential. You realized that this wasn't about external recognition or validation. It was about the internal recognition that you were capable, awake, and ready to step into your own life fully. The 2 minutes passed, yet a strange timelessness remained. The world continued, indifferent yet alive, and you continued, fully present, fully awake, fully engaged. The secret surprise you understood now was not a gift to be received. It was a gift to be discovered within yourself. Life's greatest surprises, you whispered, are hidden in moments we almost ignore. You opened your eyes. You were ready. You had stepped into the space where possibility lives. And there in that space, the next chapter of your life was waiting quietly, patiently for your courage to meet it. After that first instant of awakening, a quiet energy settled within you, subtle but insistent. The 2-minute warning had passed. Yet the echo of urgency lingered, reminding you that moments of transformation are not measured by clocks, but by the readiness of your own heart. You understood now that life doesn't hand out instructions. It offers moments coded in attention and courage, and the act of receiving them is entirely yours. You began to notice small signals everywhere, glances, words, rhythms of the day that once seemed ordinary. Each was an invitation, a whisper of possibility, a subtle nudge urging you to align with the current of your own potential. The secret surprise revealed itself in fragments. A sudden clarity of thought, a surge of creativity, the realization of connections you had previously overlooked. The universe, you realized, speaks in quiet ways, and the only requirement is to pay attention. Your morning shifted. Tasks you once approached mechanically became exercises in presence. Each choice, how you spoke, what you prioritized, even what you ignored, became imbued with significance. You were no longer acting out of habit. You were acting out of awareness. The secret surprise was teaching you that engagement, not outcome, is the true reward. You thought about the moments you had ignored before, opportunities that seemed small, conversations you had dismissed, ideas you had abandoned. They now appeared as mist whispers of possibility. But instead of regret, a gentle curiosity took their place. You realized the past was only preparation, not punishment. And the future was an open space waiting for your deliberate action. Every delay, the inner voice said, was rehearsal. Every hesitation, a lesson, and every lesson prepares the soul for the next doorway. As you moved through the day, creativity surged. Ideas you had tucked away returned with new vigor. Projects that had felt stalled began to move forward, not through force, but through alignment. It was as if the secret surprise had unlocked a hidden channel connecting your past efforts, your current focus, and your future intentions into a single flowing stream. You began noticing your own inner blocks, fear, doubt, distraction, and you faced them directly. The realization dawned that the secret surprise was not a material gift but an internal shift. The courage to act without waiting, the clarity to see without distortion, and the patience to move without rushing. Opportunity, you whispered, doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It arrives as alignment. The surprise is living fully awake in each moment. Even failure became transformed. Tasks that had gone awry, conversations that had faltered, ideas that had stagnated, all became data, not defeat. Each mistake was a mirror showing where attention or care had slipped. The secret surprise had opened your eyes to the fact that the world doesn't punish. It reflects. By evening, a calm determination had settled over you. The urgency of the 2 minutes was replaced with a steady pulse of purpose. You realized the surprise had been with you all along, waiting for recognition. It wasn't external. It was the activation of your own presence, the alignment of thought, intention, and action. The true gift, you reflected, is realizing that I have always had what I need to move forward. The secret surprise was never out there. It was in here, waiting for me to see it. You sat quietly, letting the understanding soak in. The day had passed, yet you felt a profound freshness, as if a door had opened inside your mind and heart. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new tasks, perhaps new uncertainties. But you were ready. You had learned to trust the invisible, to respond to the subtle, and to recognize that every moment carries its own secret if only you look closely. Life, you whispered to yourself, asks for attention, courage, and presence. Everything else is a consequence. And in that realization, a subtle joy arose. The secret surprise was no longer something you awaited. It was something you had become. It lived in your awareness, in your choices, in the very act of being fully present. The following morning, you awoke with a new sense of intention. The 2-minute warning and the secret surprise were no longer distant concepts. They had become a lens through which you experienced everything. Every decision, every encounter, every task was suddenly charged with significance. Life had shifted from a series of routine motions to a flowing dialogue of presence and possibility. You noticed how often you had gone through the motions before, completing tasks without awareness, speaking words without thought, following habits without questioning them. Now, each action was deliberate. You began to see the energy in ordinary moments, the rhythm of a conversation, the cadence of your typing, the way sunlight fell across a page. The world was alive with signals, and for the first time, you were tuned to receive them. The secret surprise, you whispered, is the ability to notice what was always here. Ideas that had once seemed incomplete or impossible began to coalesce. Projects that had stagnated started moving forward as if an invisible current had aligned your mind with your actions. Inspiration was no longer a fleeting visitor. It had become a companion, a partner in every task. You realized that action and awareness were inseparable. The moment you truly engaged, life responded. Obstacles arose. Of course, challenges, doubts, and fears appeared as they always do. But now they were no longer threats. They were invitations. Each problem became a doorway. Each setback a lesson. Each hesitation a prompt to refocus and reorient. You began to understand that the secret surprise was not about a reward or a gift. It was about transformation. The universe, you thought, doesn't hand out miracles. It responds to those who are awake to them. You spent the day experimenting, testing ideas, taking small risks you had previously avoided. The first attempts were awkward, imperfect, even frustrating. But with each iteration, your confidence grew. The secret surprise revealed itself again and again, small successes, subtle insights, tiny alignments that cumulatively formed a wave of momentum. By afternoon, a sense of flow had taken over. Tasks that once felt laborious became opportunities for creativity. Decisions that once seemed overwhelming became exercises in clarity. Every interaction became a microcosm of learning, discovery, and engagement. You realized that what you had been waiting for, the surprise, the sign, the call, had always been inside you. It isn't a message from elsewhere, you thought. It is the unlocking of my own attention, courage, and willingness to act. As evening approached, a quiet reflection settled in. You recognized the pattern. Every breakthrough in life begins with awareness followed by deliberate action nurtured by persistence. The secret surprise was the awakening of this understanding made tangible in your own life. And yet there was something more. The act of responding to this moment of noticing and acting without delay created ripples beyond yourself. Every kind word, every focused effort, every deliberate choice began to radiate outward, influencing situations, people, and even ideas in ways you couldn't yet see. The secret surprise was not only personal, it was universal. By opening fully, I do not just receive, you whispered. I give by being awake. I expand the circle of possibility. Night fell, but sleep no longer felt like an escape. It felt like a continuation, a quiet period of integration where the lessons of attention, presence, and action could sink deep into your consciousness. You understood now that life is always sending invitations. The 2-minute countdown, the secret surprise, the urgency, they were all symbols teaching you to recognize the fleeting moments when courage meets opportunity. And in that realization, a profound calm arose. You were no longer chasing signs or waiting for someone else to deliver a message. The secret surprise was alive in every decision you made, in every breath you took, in every action you performed. Life is offering its treasures constantly, you whispered, but only to those who are awake enough to receive them. You closed your eyes and felt a surge of gratitude. The message was clear. Presence, courage, and action are the keys to every secret, the gateway to every opportunity, the hidden surprise in every moment. And now, fully aware, fully present, fully engaged, you were ready to meet whatever came next. The following days were different. You noticed it immediately. Life no longer felt like a series of interruptions, obligations, or random events. Every moment was alive with potential. Every interaction an opportunity to act with attention and intention. The 2-minute warning that had once seemed urgent now felt like a gift, a symbol reminding you that the present is always fleeting, always precious, always charged with possibility. You began to move with purpose in small ways. First, each decision was deliberate. The way you spoke, the way you prioritized tasks, the way you showed care for yourself and others. Every action became infused with awareness. And that awareness created energy, a current that connected your inner world to the external one in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. The secret surprise, you whispered, is not something I find. It is something I become. With that understanding, fear and hesitation lost their power. Challenges arose, of course, as they always do. But now they were opportunities in disguise. You faced problems with curiosity instead of dread, approached setbacks as lessons rather than punishments, and welcomed uncertainty as an invitation to grow. You realized that the real surprise was not external. It was internal. A transformation in how you perceived yourself and the world. You also noticed how your presence began to influence others. Friends, colleagues, even strangers responded to your energy differently. Not because you sought attention, but because you had aligned your actions, your focus, and your presence with intention. By being fully awake, fully engaged, fully present, you became a conduit for possibility, not just for yourself, but for those around you. The world, you reflected, doesn't reward waiting. It rewards alignment, attention, courage, and action. Every hidden gift is revealed to those who are awake enough to notice it. You took on projects that had intimidated you before. Tasks that seemed too large, too complex, or too uncertain were now approached methodically with clarity and confidence. Your creativity flowed effortlessly. Your decisions were sharper, your insights deeper, your patience steadier. You had unlocked something vital. The understanding that the secret surprises of life emerge when preparation meets awareness and courage meets timing. Even ordinary moments became extraordinary. Preparing a meal, taking a walk, reading a book, sending a thoughtful message. Every act held potential. Every decision mattered. You understood now that life does not deliver miracles as rewards for waiting. Miracles are revealed in the everyday practice of presence and engagement, in the willingness to act fully even when outcomes are uncertain. I no longer wait for the signal, you whispered. I am the signal. I am the surprise. I am awake and I choose to act. At night, when you reflected on the journey that had begun with a symbolic 2 minutes left, you recognized the pattern, the urgency, the request, the secret surprise. They were metaphors guiding you to the fundamental truth. Life responds to awareness, persistence, and intentional action. Every gift, every insight, every opportunity comes through engagement, not passivity. And in that moment, a profound peace settled over you. You were no longer searching, no longer anxious, no longer waiting for a call from the outside world. You had internalized the lesson, the true surprises, the hidden treasures, the transformative opportunities. These live within you. They reveal themselves only when you open yourself fully, act boldly, and remain present. Life, you whispered, smiling, is full of secret surprises. And now I know the greatest one was discovering that I am capable, awake, and ready all along. With that, you rose, carrying forward the clarity, courage, and purpose you had awakened. The journey was far from over, but the awakening had been complete. You no longer feared the unknown, for you had learned to move through it with presence, focus, and confidence. The world continued, vibrant and unpredictable, and you moved within it fully awake, fully engaged, and fully alive. The secret surprise was no longer a fleeting moment or an external message. It was a state of being, a gift that could never be lost, only realized, nurtured, and shared. And in that understanding, you knew the next 2 minutes, the next hour, the next day, all of them were full of possibility, waiting for your courage to meet them. The moment had passed, yet its echo remained. 2 minutes fleeting, urgent, symbolic, had transformed from a countdown into a lens through which you saw life itself. The secret surprise was no longer a message waiting outside you. It was inside, living in your awareness, your attention, your willingness to act fully. You realize that life does not pause for indecision. Opportunities do not wait for permission. Moments of transformation arrive and depart in the quiet spaces between thought and action. And those who notice, who step forward, receive not a reward but a revelation. The gift, you whispered, was never waiting for me to find it. It was waiting for me to open myself. From that awareness flowed courage. You approached challenges not with fear but with curiosity. You treated failures not as setbacks but as mirrors teaching you where to focus, where to grow, where to persist. Every task, every conversation, every breath became a thread in the tapestry of a life fully awake. You began to see the subtle ways your presence affected the world. Even small acts, offering attention, kindness, insight, created ripples that extended beyond sight. The secret surprise was amplifying. The more awake you became, the more life responded. What once seemed external now reflected your inner alignment. Being present, you realized, is the truest form of power. Action aligned with attention is the ultimate transformation. Even ordinary days became extraordinary. Preparing a meal, sending a thoughtful message, completing work with focus, everything carried significance. You no longer waited for external validation or signs. You had internalized the lesson. Transformation comes from presence, courage, and a willingness to act, no matter how small the step. At night, as the world slowed, a calm understanding settled in. The secret surprise was not a fleeting gift but a state of being, awake, engaged, aligned with purpose. It was the discovery that every moment holds opportunity, every challenge holds meaning, and every breath can carry insight if you are attentive enough to notice. The countdown is over, you whispered. And yet every moment is a new beginning. Every instant contains the hidden gift of possibility. You stood, feeling the weight and the freedom of this realization. Life continued, vibrant, unpredictable, full of mystery. You moved within it fully awake, fully engaged, fully alive. You understood that the greatest secret surprises are not external. They are internal. They are realized in presence, courage, and intentional action. The 2 minutes had passed. The surprise had arrived. And in discovering it, you discovered yourself. You were awake. You were ready. You were alive. And that was more than enough.